my ethnographic study, I've chosen yoga. Here on campus, a very common place to practice yoga is at Inner Fire, which is located on 773 University Avenue. The interviews only reinforced my question I'd chosen to explore, which is, if yoga wasn't commercialized and done by models and celebrities, would the practice be as popular? The practice has been around for 5,000 years, and I argue that the practice has only become popularized lately because of its presence in the media. This commodification has also led many people to think of yoga as an exercise and not a spiritual, religious, or meditative practice as it has been for many years in the past. Yoga and what we know today isn't the ancient practice, but one of the many reinventions that have occurred throughout the years. Due to yoga's long history, there are many ways of interpreting and explaining it, but for sake of clarity, I will explain by centuries. In ancient times, the earliest known script for yoga was in the Vedas, and in this period, Vedic priests were written about, and sacrifices they would conduct were done in positions that were kind of precursors to yoga poses. The most renowned of the yogic scriptures is the Bhagavad Gita. And flash forward to the 1890s, yoga became more popular to Westerners due to the fact that an individual named Swami Vivekananda, a Hindu monk, toured Europe and the US with the purpose of spreading Hindu knowledge. In the 20th century, yoga became ordinary exercise. In the 1980s, yoga became even more popular due to the first health benefits that were reported because of the practice. In the 21st century, the popularity of yoga skyrocketed and many other health benefits were found. Today, many don't think of yoga as a spiritual, religious, or meditative practice, but solely as an exercise. When I posed the question to my interviewees, what do they know about the history of yoga, or if they know about the history of yoga, they responded, "Do you know anything about the history of yoga?"
No.
Do you personally know anything about yoga's history?
Not really.
Do you think that yoga's history is important to you and other yoga practitioners?
It is. It's changed so much.
It has.
So it's like to recognize that it's not at all what it used to be is important, but also knowing where it came from.
When I asked if seeing celebrities do yoga or seeing yoga on social media affected yoga and its participants, my interviewees responded,
Do you think that social media or celebrities going out with their yoga mats or anything like that has affected that?
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
I think so. Because when you see people who are like enjoying it or having a great time with it and they look really fit, you kind of want to have that same body type or kind of like have that same experience.
When I asked my interviewees if they knew about how heavily commercialized yoga was, they responded,
Aware of, you probably are, of how commercialized yoga is now.
Totally.
Like, it's definitely for profit. It's no longer like for religious and strictly spiritual purposes.
Yeah.
What do you think about that and what the direction that it's going in?
I think it makes sense to me just knowing like how the world is now that's how it is.
That the brands are really more just using it as a way to sell their brand. Is like, if you wear this, well then you'll feel more comfortable.
In the Huffington Post article called "Has Yoga Lost Its Soul? Part 2, Capitalism and Opportunity?", the author Justin Hakuda's statement supports my claim that this commodification of yoga has led to a huge question of authenticity. This idea that yoga has diverged so far from its roots that what we see today is barely recognizable. In Forbes' article, The Great Yoga Debate, Has Yoga Sold Its Soul?, the author Alice G. Walton discusses how the practice seen today focuses too much on the physical body and doesn't put enough emphasis or pay attention to the philosophical side and the mental side. And it is important to note that in ancient India, one of the main purposes of yoga was to move one's mind into a higher consciousness. By participating in yoga, I learned that yoga is a whole body experience, and it's not just doing the moves and going through the motions. Your head has to be in it in order for you to get the most out of your experience. And I think that I definitely wouldn't be able to learn this without participating in the actual bodily experience. By reading a book, you wouldn't be able to see that. By seeing a video, an article, you wouldn't be able to feel like you had to really be present and feel the sweat dripping down your face while you're trying to get into maybe a deeper lunge, but also trying to keep your head clear and focus on being present and not focusing too much on how much you're straining your body. So in conclusion, I stand by my argument in that yoga has been popularized due to social media and celebrities, and people are forgetting that the practice is not simply just an exercise, but it is spiritual and emotional. But I do concede to the fact that this popularization and this globalization isn't entirely a bad thing. But I do think that people do need to step back and realize that yoga isn't just an exercise. It is a mind-body experience, and your mind needs to be there as well as your body doing those movements. And through my research, I found that many have separated yoga from its history and its true purpose, which was to cultivate inner peace and harmony and move one's mind into this higher state of consciousness. And through this commercialization and commodification, there is a widening gap in between the purpose of yoga and how people use it today. And so similar to how hip-hop was highly commodified and globalized, the same thing can be seen with yoga. And along with this global trend, the roots of yoga have been lost. But I think what we have seen in my interviews is that many are aware of this fact and know that it's important that we bring back the true purpose of yoga.